Let's see. Let's see who's joining us today. This is a test. I repeat, this is a test. Let me see how it looks. Facebook. Okay. Working? It does work. Okay. Okay. I think I need to redo this. So we want to talk about payment processing today. Um, that's what we want to talk about. Payment processing. Who do we have here to talk about payment processing? This is a test. I'm using a software that I've never used before to stream out to different platforms. So I'm literally testing this live. A lot of people get nervous, they get scared, they get concerned about doing something they've never done before because they're afraid of making a mistake. Like, it does not matter if you make a mistake or not, right? You're supposed to make mistakes. That's kind of like the whole point. Um, it's not a big deal. So, with for anyone who needs payment processing, there has to anyone who's using payment processing. What is payment processing? Payment processing is accepting payments, sales through credit cards, right? This is what payment processing is. So if you're a brick and mortar business, you accept credit cards. If you are a an online business, you accept credit cards. Here's the thing: most people sign up for a payment processing account and they go with whoever approaches them first. It could be their bank who's going to outsource it somewhere else. It could be Stripe, PayPal. And when things happen, they get super shocked and surprised. And you shouldn't be, because everything that they do is in tiny, small, size 7 font in about 40 pages or so in something called the terms and conditions. Everyone who has a website also has terms and conditions, but no one really reads through all the terms and conditions that are on websites, because we're not there to read terms and conditions. We are actually trying to purchase products and services. So when things happen that shock you, like you say, you get your funds held by Stripe or PayPal, or you get your funds held by a bank or any payment processing company because maybe you had too many chargebacks or something like that, we get so freaking shocked and blown out of proportion. We blow it out of proportion, but there's a reason to the system. Let me give you an example. I was just talking with a guy literally who had been reaching out for maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks now, to set up his payment processing account. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. This is like going on 2 weeks to just reaching out. And I had some issues with the family. I had someone really close to me pass. And so I wasn't able to get back in contact with him right away. So finally we spoke. And I was kind of like, I was really impressed and kind of shocked at the same time at what this person had done. I'd heard about this person before, but I didn't realize that, I'd heard this person had sold their company for $150 million, but I never actually met the person or talked to the person, right? And so, long story short, when I talk to the person, finally I get all this other new information. So we start talking about his payment processing account or what he needs, and he says he basically wants to do $1 million or so, literally in 30 to. He says, "I'm not going to do $1 million right away. It's going to be 30 to 60 days." That is right away. And so I said, "Okay, no problem. How do we? Let's talk about it." And I said, "Do you have history? Meaning, like, do you have a bank account that's already been in existence for a few months? If you do, send me the last 3 months of your bank statement." He says it's brand new. I said, "Okay, so that means you don't have a merchant account showing that you've been able to process $1 million per month." He said, "Nope, I don't have anything. It's all brand new." And I said, after hearing that, I said, "Okay, so how do you know you're going to do $1 million a month? You know, I guess this is what they're projecting." And he says that he says, well, he knows he's going to be able to do it because this is, I guess, it just looks good. And I said, "Okay, no problem. What are the ticket sizes? Meaning, like, what are the transaction sizes?" He says 5,000, 15,000, and 20,000, right? That you run through a credit card. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Here's the thing. If you run 5, 10, 15, $20,000 through credit cards, that means there's a potential to have those charged back. Meaning someone buys a product from your store, for whatever reason, they don't like it, they're not satisfied, they're not happy, and they're called their card issuing institution and they create a dispute to say, "I need my money back," because maybe they can't get in contact with you, or maybe you just say, "Listen, nope, you got the product," and you put something on your website in tiny, tiny, tiny print in the terms and conditions that says no refunds, right? But they're like, "Heck with that. I want a refund." So who's going, if you have no money in your bank account, like no money, it's a brand new bank account, and someone charges it back, then who's going to pay for it? Because most business owners, when they accept sales for a particular product, they pay their staff, they pay themselves, they go out and buy all kinds of stuff. The money's no longer there. So I told him, like, "Hey man, we're probably going to have to have a reserve." He's like, "Oh, well, I'm just going to be honest with you. If we have a reserve, I'm going to shop around." I'm like, "Go for it," right? Because it's going to be really hard pressed to find a payment processing company who is willing to take on that kind of risk for a person who has no money in their bank account, right? Extremely hard. And so you have to understand that as a business person, that there has to be a situation where it's a win-win. It can't just be me only win, right? That makes no sense. Let's say if that person did $100,000, there's no money in the bank account, and they had 3 sales for $20,000 each, and they had 2 chargebacks. There's already no money in the bank account. That means the payment processing company is on the hook for $40,000. Now, what Stripe does, or I think he said at the time he was going to do a company called WAP, and he said that they were charging him astronomical fees because what he says WAP does is they charge 2.9% or 2.9%, whatever it is that Stripe charges, and they just add on their percentages on top of it, right? So they're like a middleman of a middleman of a middleman, so to speak. And he said it's just extremely expensive. Now, he may not have any reserves there. Who knows? But when you spike up in volume and you go from, say, $0, no previous history, no previous bank account, no previous merchant statements, and you go 0 to 500,000, 100,000, or even $1 million with no money in the bank, that is a lot of risk. And here's the thing. Payment processing companies can see how much money you have in the bank. So if you have 0 and then you run it up to 100,000 or even $1 million, they know the potential to eat 100,000 or $1 million in fees that they will be on the hook for forever unless they go after you legally is highly likely. Meaning that you run $100,000 up, you get $50,000 in chargebacks or even 100,000 in chargebacks, and then you've taken the money out and you're like, "Hey, I'm paid. Come after me and get the money," right? They know that potential is very high because a lot of entrepreneurs, especially the newbies out there, the ones who don't have history, the ones who are not established, do that quite a bit. And maybe it's not their fault. Maybe sometimes it's intentional, but it's not uncommon to run up a ton of freaking sales and then take that money, spend the money, close out the bank account, or do an ACH reject the fees, and then ghost. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna be honest with you. We had an attorney. I wish I could say this freaking attorney's name. An attorney who goes around, sets up Nutra accounts in all these different financial institutions, runs it up $1 million $1 million or more per month from these kind of like shabby looking websites that look like somebody in elementary school maybe put them together, and then gets a ton of chargebacks and disputes. Now he doesn't use his name; he uses all these other people to sign the applications for him, right? Runs up all these transactions and then charge it, and then knows that they're going to get charged back, and then closes out the bank account or leaves it empty, right? So everybody does that. So you have to look at it from a perspective of, if you're going to be a business person and you're going to be successful, you have to make sure that your clients win. You can't screw the payment processing company over. You can't screw the sponsor bank over. You can't screw Visa, MasterCard over. You just won't be in business for a very long time. Now, sure, there's some people out there who get away with it, but like, you don't get rich off of doing that forever. Eventually, it will come back to bite you in the butt. This particular attorney, I think this is how they do business in general. And who knows? Maybe it'll last for a long time, but I mean, like, who wants to live under a rock while you're doing business? Who wants to always hide? You can't be out in person. You can't be out in the open. You can't even show yourself out because you're worried about what someone would do to you or something like that. It's just not a good way to live, right? And you can't even promote your business out there because you've already burned so many bridges as being a shyster, right? So I'm just saying all that to say that you can scale your business. You can run it up to $1 million, $2 million a month. I mean, Macy's, I hate to say it, let's just say Target or Walmart, or there's tons of other businesses that are online, clothing stores, Nike, Adidas. They sell millions and millions and millions of dollars of products online every single month. There's no cap on how much they can process. The thing that allows them to process is providing good service, making sure that the clients know that if there's an issue, there's recourse. They also make sure not to screw over the payment processing company. Adidas, Nike, Converse, whatever other shoe line is out there, they're not going to sell $5 million or $1 million in sneakers or clothing apparel and then get, and let's just say 10% or I'm sorry, 2% of their customers have disputes and they get, let's just say $200,000 in requested refunds. They're not going to say, oh, screw you, right? They're not going to do that and then take the money and, first of all, not give the service to their customers, and then at the same time close out their bank account so that the payment processing company has to be left on the hook for those $200,000 in fees. They're not going to do that, right? And so you don't have to do that. You may not be able to make as much money initially up front. You may have to scale slowly but surely, ensuring that your product is good, ensure that your service is good, and making sure that you satisfy your clients. And I'm not saying it's easy, right? We even, we have sales reps that we work with, and they're hard to deal with. Who knows what they say to their clients, and then, of course, they always want the most that they can get, and it just becomes like a little rat race, so to speak. But that, unfortunately, is the game that we're playing, and so we just have to play it to the best of our ability. I wish. Let me see. Can I see this here? I wish there was some comments here, but let me see. Let live viewer comments show up on stream. This is an example. Click on the comment to show. Okay. So, does anyone have any questions for me? I wish. Let me say, hey there. I'm going to say, hey there. Right. I'm going to let me know if you can see my comments. Right. Oh, that's YouTube. Okay. So I don't really. I'm hoping I'm here. I think I'm on Facebook. I think I'm on LinkedIn, and I think on YouTube. Right. Here's a website that you can go to. We're not opening this right now, but oops, you can go to that website and maybe you can opt in. We have a waiting list. If you want to learn more about this, you know what? I think I sent you the wrong site. I'm sorry. Here's the website. That is the website for you to go to if you want to get more information on payment processing. If you have a brick and mortar business, we can set something up for you. We have zero fees, right? Literally, where you reverse, all it is basically reversing the card brand fee back to the card holder. Then we have programs where we have flat rate pricing for every vertical, just about every vertical. I have to make sure that I emphasize just about, not every vertical. This is not open to every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. There's a lot of people out there who are scammy, who they scam clients, they scam everybody they can. So this is not for you. This is for people who have legitimate businesses who need to accept payments. You could be a church. I'm in the state of Michigan. There's so many big freaking churches here who need payment processing. They want to go direct. They don't want to go through a software company who goes to another company who then goes through somebody else that they probably shouldn't be working with anyway. So that is my spiel for today. Again, this was just a test, but I thought I would try to make it interesting and fun. Again, go to their website. You can go to econpayments.io if you want information, if you need payment processing, or if you have any questions. Be good.